and debate is disturbing classrooms in Kerala. A controversy erupted at St. Rita's public school in Kochi after an 8th grade Muslim student insisted on wearing hijab inside school premises and was subsequently denied entry. Matter escalated to such an extent that the school had to file a police complaint seeking protection from the Kerala High Court and declaring a 2-day holiday from October 13 and 14 because protests erupted at its premises. The school has made it clear the ward's parents had accepted the uniform policy previously, so why this change mid-term? But even as it is seeming that better sense prevailed on ground, the state government intervened attacking the school. The left government has now issued a directive to the school asking them to allow students to wear headscarves despite legal precedents that put institutional policy above individual freedoms. The BJP has latched on to this as another example of Muslim appeasement, claiming STPI role behind the protests as well. After Karnataka hijab row was settled, what explains this sudden controversy in Kerala all over again? Why is it that parents or groups are agitating for bringing in the hijab into the classroom while opposing other religious markers in several cases? Is this really about religious freedom and expression or about creating exclusivity for only one section? And has the premature diktat by the state government in a way uncovered a tale of appeasement? That and more is coming up with our guest, the big hijab row that is back after Karnataka, now in Kerala. Also on the show, we'll talk about what's really ailing Bengaluru. Another row erupts between an industrialist and the government over the infrastructure mess. Later on the show, we'll also get you snippets of the Indian women's team visit to a temple. Stay with us. That's coming up later. First up, the school stand has been very clear from the beginning as far as the Kerala hijab row is concerned, that this policy, their policy of uniform and the fact that other kind of coverings or any kind of dress is not allowed is a 30-year-old policy. Parents have already agreed to it, including the parent and the child in this case. Later, we are being told that the parents relented as well. They were willing to go back to the dress code after mediation between the school and the parents. But it is strange that even though on ground the issue was allegedly resolved, the left government still asked the student to allow to wear the hijab, despite the fact that the matter is now sub judice as well. They've made it clear where they stand, and that is the big debate today. The battle, though, did not end with the back and forth as far as the school and the child is concerned. Based on the complaint filed by the student's father, the Ernakulam Deputy Director of Education conducted an investigation and found that there had been serious lapses on the part of the school authorities. But the principal refuted their claims. First, that the child was expelled, which they say is inaccurate, that isn't the action that has been taken at all. Now, Kerala government report says that the school has violated the right to education. The school insists that all other Muslim students in their very school are also following the protocol. And as I mentioned, even in this case, the parents of the child concerned had already agreed to the dress code. Government says that the school should relent and allow the hijab in classroom. The school says that all kids are treated in a similar manner in a secular country. Now, the Kerala High Court granted police protection to the school after protests erupted in this matter. The High Court has initially, as far as the first hearing is concerned, supported maintaining order and also institutional autonomy. But they did encourage that there should be a dialogue between the parents and the management. That seems to have happened. But the matter is now scheduled for another hearing on November 11. The government, though, remember, has already intervened before the court could decide one way or the other. But let's take a look at what has happened in courts on this very issue when it came to Karnataka, for example. Back in 2021, this row had erupted and had gone on for quite some time in the state. A two-judge bench of the Supreme Court, after the Karnataka High Court backing the institution policy, the Supreme Court had delivered a split verdict. So what did that split verdict say? Justice Hemant Gupta had upheld the Karnataka High Court's decision, arguing that the uniform dress code was a reasonable restriction and necessary for maintaining equality and discipline in education institutions. He emphasized that the hijab is not essential Islamic practice under Article 25 of the Constitution. But Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia disagreed with the High Court, stating that wearing the hijab is a matter of personal choice and individual dignity, emphasizing the right to privacy, freedom of expression and freedom of religion as enshrined in the Constitution, and saying that the focus should be on facilitating education for girls and not restricting it. With that, the big question we asked today is simply this. This row is now erupting in Kerala after Karnataka. Has the Kerala government response in a way uncovered the appeasement associated with certain parties, with certain governments or with certain groups when it comes to the issue of simply following uniform rules?
Kerala High Court. Anyway, we will follow management respecting rules and regulation.
വിദ്യാർത്ഥിനിയെ ശിരോവസ്ത്രം ധരിച്ചതിൻ്റെ പേരിൽ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നിന്ന് പുറത്താക്കിയത് ഗുരുതരമായ കൃത്യവിലോപവും വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ അവകാശ നിയമത്തിൻ്റെ ലംഘനവും.
Vote bank matters, and therefore these people are now bullying the school in a way. Vote bank to prevail above rules and regulations.
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, Professor Roni K. Baby, spokesperson of Kerala Congress joining us, Rashmi Sawant, activist, and Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst also with us. Professor Baby, I begin with you. What justifies the fact that the state government has already intervened in this matter, saying that the school must allow the hijab, even though that they know that there are precedents where the courts have not backed that policy. They have backed institutional autonomy. They have also talked about reasonable restrictions that institutions can place. And also in this case, the court has not decided the matter one way or the other. On top of that, your party colleague has come out to the media and said that the matter has been resolved on ground. So why this, why this urge for the Kerala government to dictate?
The matter is already amicably settled, thanks to the Honorable MP from Ernakulam, Haibi Eden, and other Congress leadership from the Ernakulam.
Yes.
The issue is settled between the school management and the father of that particular girl, and who demanded for wearing hijab. But the vested interested parties like the state government and other communal forces, they are taking advantage of this situation. What the Honorable Education Minister Shivankutty,
yes,
the first day, his response that everyone should respect the rules of the school. And 24 hours after, he changed his stand. And now he has taken a position that the rights of the student should also be respected. But here already there is a court judgment in 2018. That is the management's record. It was on Fatima Tasneem versus State of Kerala. In that case, the Honorable Kerala High Court categorically stated that rights of a student cannot override the large interest, discipline and uniform regulations of an educational institution. In the school diary of that particular school, from clause 30 to 33, it is clearly spelled out that there should be a uniform pattern of dress code in that school, and everyone who is getting admission in that school should follow that dress code. The father of that particular girl also signed in an affidavit that we should also follow the rules and regulations of the school. But anyway, unfortunately, he changed his stand and he insisted that his
So why has that
daughter,
happened? Why has that happened? The BJP claims this is because of Muslim appeasement. The left government in Kerala does not want to take on the Muslim community. In this case, the BJP is also claiming that Congress ally, STPI, we know their background already from states like Karnataka and otherwise, that STPI, which is your ally by the way, the Congress's ally, they are behind these protests and needlessly disturbing the atmosphere in the state.
See, I strongly expressing my protection of your statement that SDP is an ally of Congress in Kerala. We don't have any kind of understanding or any kind of connection with the SDP. That's another outfit. They are functioning in their own way. Congress, which is leading the UDF, United Democratic Front, and SDP is not a part of that UDF. And anywhere in Kerala, we don't have any alliance with the SDP. I strongly...
You don't oppose them either.
Objecting your statement.
No, you don't oppose them. You have taken their support in the past quite openly, even if from outside.
No, we never requested for their support anywhere, even in the last parliament election or any other assembly election or any other local body election. We never asked for their support. We never asked. See, Kerala, you know the background of Kerala. You know the secular fabric of Kerala. People of Kerala, they are strongly opposing. They are strongly taking stand to all communal forces, whether it is majority or minority. We are strongly opposing it, and we are standing for the secular credentials and secular values.
So are you suggesting that the left government then, in some ways, is appeasing the Muslim community by backing this hijab demand inside classrooms? Is that the Congress's view?
Yes, but unfortunately, the position of the state government, or especially the position of the state education minister, it was very, it's very sorry to say. The first incident, he took a stand that everyone should respect the rules and regulations of the school. And within 24 hours, he changed his stand and said that the rights of the student also should be respected, should be protected. So he is, and the CPM at the present Congress, they are playing a kind of minority appeasement just only for winning elections. And our stand, Congress, we settled the issue, amicably settled the issue between the school management and between that particular parent.
Yeah, you say that now. I wanted to go across to Charu if she's back with us, because you know, in different states, when it happened in Karnataka, for example, there was a BJP government in power at that time. At that time, the principal opposition party, the Congress, was critical of what the BJP government was trying to do. So they have also made their mind known as far as this issue is concerned in the past. Rashmi comes from Karnataka. She would remember what transpired in Karnataka in the past. It seems like from state to state, some parties may differ in their stand. For example, here in Kerala, the Congress is not supporting the fact that hijab should be allowed in classrooms, but they did so when the matter erupted in Karnataka. Is there appeasement going around depending on state to state?
Unfortunately, Shivani, what we can see is that in each state, this entire issue has been reduced to political theatre, and cannon fodder is unfortunately young girls are being made cannon fodder. So I think that is very unfortunate. Even in Karnataka, we saw that it was young school-going girls who were dragged into this sort of political theatre, and the entire issue was politicized.
Were they dragged? No, I'm sorry, Rashmi, were they dragged into this or were they fronting this? I'm sorry, let's not give an easy cop-out to girls who did come out in the media and insisted. They were the ones boycotting their classes, whatever force is behind them.
Shivani, there have always been forces, because these are all girls by the end of the day who are under 18 years of age. So there are definitely forces which are, promoting their views. And the minute a political party takes a view, then there is an encouragement to this sort of behavior. I think some benefit of doubt we can, give to these girls because they are under 18 years of age. Yes, they've come out, they have said certain things, but if the college, if the courts are deciding, and on top of that, if political parties decide to then come out and take a stand, that then, sort of destroys the entire sanctity of a legal system, it destroys the sanctity of an educational institution, and it reduces such issues to mere political theatre. And that, I think, shouldn't happen. Political parties behaving so irresponsibly is one of the largest reasons why educational institutions have progressed from being just places of education and enlightenment
to political battlegrounds,
being used for political battlegrounds.
It happens in college campuses all the time, but there is a justification that college campus, campuses throw up future student leaders, etc., and those are adults. But what justifies politicizing on an issue like this, which has already been settled, mind you, multiple times by courts that have repeatedly said that institutional autonomy is above individual freedoms. You can go to a different school if you don't like the rules of that school. And also, uniform is not an undue restriction being put in an educational institution which is for minors. Charu Pragya, Here, the Congress on ground says, quote unquote, communal forces are fanning these tensions. The left government has already issued a diktat that the school has to allow the hijab in the classroom. Who is at fault here exactly? Because insinuation is also on the BJP in the state that somehow, quote unquote, communal forces take advantage of these issues. Who are these communal forces?
Shivani, good evening, and it's good to be on your show after a long break. It's so easy to blame communal forces for everything, vaguely using the term communal forces, or in fact, so many times even right wing. It's such a convenient word to throw around. But look at the irony here. A communist education minister is dictating what a Christian school should allow a Muslim girl to wear. And this is their idea of secularism. How pseudo. How crazy can things be? This is state-sponsored chaos and nothing else. And I find Congress's stand laughable, honestly, because the Congress spokesperson was just speaking. I want to ask him, sir, what was your stand in the state of Karnataka? Just a few short years ago, every day we were debating the hijab row in Karnataka, where you so firmly stood with girls wearing hijab to school, to colleges, and you created anarchy out of it. That is how bad the situation was. Today, you want to support someone because it suits your political narrative. So that is not how the country can be run. You know, this is not secularism. You can't stand for one thing in Karnataka and another in Kerala. Please set yourself straight and tell us where your party stands. In this particular case,
I have clear stand on the issues in Karnataka.
I didn't interrupt you. I was not inviting you to speak. Let me finish. You can come in when I'm done. Shivani, also, you know, when there is a legal precedent for issues like this, it is just craziness to jump in every single time and interfere with the way institutions are working in our country. There's a lot of clarity. From Kerala High Court's verdict in 2018 in the Fatima case, where it was very clearly said that institutional discipline and collective rights is more important than individual exception. Bombay High Court in 2002 also said the same thing, where it upheld the use of the school uniform. Karnataka High Court in 2022 very recently said that a hijab is not an essential religious practice. And if you're going to be encouraging the hijab to be worn like this, interfering with the way an institution is running, what's going to happen for other things? Tomorrow I can say I want to wear a dupatta to a college. Tomorrow somebody can say I want to wear a tilak. Where does the uniform go? See, this has nothing to do with the constitution. This has nothing to do with secularism. This has nothing to do with the freedom to practice your own religion. This, in fact, is clear that there is political opportunism which exists in our country. Yes, CPIM is doing what it wants to, but look at the double standards of Congress. It's appalling.
Can I ask him to come in? Can I ask Professor Baby to come in? He says the Congress took a very clear stand in Karnataka too. What was that stand, Professor Baby?
Priyanka Gandhi said nobody dictates what a girl should wear. Isn't that what the Congress's stand was?
Let him come in. Yes.
Can I come in, Shivani ji?
Sayyaji, I'm coming to you next. Yes, Baby, Professor Baby.
In Karnataka, you know that the government has issued a ban on wearing hijab in pre-universities, in pre-university colleges in Karnataka.
Yes.
That is funded by government, funded by the state government. The issue is that educational institutions which are run by minority managements, especially in managements, how can the government impose a ban, or how can the government issue a direction that even the minority students studying in particular colleges, you cannot wear hijab?
Okay, interesting. So you are now making a distinction of the fact that in Kerala there is a minority institution involved. In Karnataka there was a state institution involved.
One more thing is that the present institution where the controversy is going on in Kerala, which is a CBSE school, it's not funded by the state.
Should that matter? If anything, the government, they shouldn't interfere in a minority institution or any private institution, but their rule, which was the case in Karnataka, should also apply to a state-run institution, of course.
In Karnataka or in Kerala, what is our stand? That the school management, they can take appropriate decision. That is the decision of the Honorable.
The school management took the decision in Karnataka as well. Let Charu come in. Okay, once again, you made the distinction. Sayyaji, just give me 1 minute. I'm coming to you. You also hail from Karnataka. I know you have a lot to say. Charu, the defense by the Congress.
Yes, he's factually completely incorrect, because minority education institutions actually set their own rules, sir. You should know that. They do not follow what the government makes standard for all government schools and institutions.
Yes, so that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying, that in Kerala, the government is dictating to a minority school, which is why they're objecting to it. In Karnataka, it was a state-run school, which is why they supported hijab.
exactly what this is exactly what he's getting wrong. Here in Kerala, there is a minority institution where the
What's
rules are
Article
clear.
29 and
The
30 of
rules
Indian
of the
Constitution?
uniform are very
You
clear.
study about
Every
the
parent
minority
can
rights of the
entrust
Indian
the child to
Constitution.
that
One by one, please. Charu.
Article 29
signs
and
the
30,
document.
minority rights of the Indian Constitution.
One second, sir.
Sir,
One second. I get what you're saying. Charu. Limited time, sir. Yes.
Professor Ronnie, here when the child was admitted to the school, because it was a minority institution, the parents signed a document which clearly stated this is our uniform. Their child was mandated to wear that uniform. The child went to school for months in the prescribed uniform. What happened all of a sudden? And why is it that the government needed to
Only
document?
2 occasions
That
he wear
itself
that
is wrong.
hijab,
I'm
not
finding your
continuously,
double standards
not
even
continuously
worse.
for months.
Listen, what you did in Karnataka was the worst things I've seen in recent minds. Instead of helping women advance, instead of helping girls learn better, you were encouraging them to wear a hijab and sit at home if need be. Not even come and give
Syed
exam.
Abbas, I think Charu used that word of political opportunism, which is the attack on the left government in Kerala. But I think in this case, there has been religious or cultural or social opportunism as well. As we have seen in the case of Karnataka as well, this hijab issue was politicized to somehow make this about Muslim rights, Muslim freedoms and everything by putting these young girls front and center and using them, as Rashmi said, some sort of a cannon fodder in a larger fight. This isn't really about hijab. The hijab debate has been settled multiple times. So what is this really about? Why are suddenly students coming in and insisting that mid-term they want to start wearing the hijab in classrooms?
Rashmiji, I went to an educational institution where I read the following lines, which will resonate with every panel on this debate. Om Bhur Bhuratsaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Deva Sadimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. It's the most beautiful Gayatri mantra. And let me tell you, every student in the morning assembly prayers was enlightened by this and we loved it, loved the resonance of it. Isn't religion here? It's there, but do we care? Did a Muslim read? Yes. Did a Christian read? Yes. Did a Hindu read? Yes. Sikh as well. The fact of the matter, here is the duplicity and hypocrisy of the Bharatiya Janata Party, which says, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. But the same Beti is given, choose, hijab ya kitab, hijab ya kitab. Today, if a 14 or a 15 or a 16 or a 17-year-old girl wants to wear a hijab, spread a modesty between her face about a 1 feet cloth, how do you even distinguish that way? Why can't a little girl by her choice have the hijab and her kitab? The fact of the matter, let me just enlighten my dear friend Charu Pragya, who's a leader in politics, who's doing great. Ma'am, you give a choice? How unfair is that? Are you even aware? There is a FIFA international football team which wears hijab. US coach judge who wears hijab. Doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, successful women in the world who
Those
wear
are not
hijab.
classrooms.
Now,
The problem is that.
30 seconds.
Syed,
30,
the problem
30
is
seconds.
these examples
Shivani ji,
that you're
30 seconds.
citing are one, not for
Shivani ji,
minors. They
30
are not for
seconds.
state or educational institutions.
Shivani, 30 seconds, please. I've come last into that bit. Just 30 seconds. The fact of the matter, I was on a debate with national spokesperson of BJP, Shazia Ilmi ji, who said, it is my choice. I will not wear a hijab. Ma'am, I respect your choice. I respect your choice, Mohtarma. But if a girl or a woman with her choice wishes to wear a hijab, what is your problem?
Okay. So two
Why are you
questions
giving a
arise
choice?
here. Two questions arise here. Is it really
Next,
that young
yeah.
girl's choice? Why is it happening
Yes.
mid-term
Good question.
after
I will
signing
answer
the
that. I will
uniform
answer that.
policy?
I will answer that.
Yes.
Fair question, Shivani ji. Shivani ji, you too are a journalist I've been watching for the last 10 years. I'm sure you have many Muslim women friends. Let me tell you on your show, those who are forced to do hijab is absolutely wrong. It is null. It is void. But let me advocate the fact there are so many wonderful, strong Muslim women who wear a hijab by their choice.
It
It's
is
the
not a
modesty.
symbol
The
of
same
strength
nuns of the
or
Christian
otherwise.
schools.
Please don't make it that.
Can I just say
Don't
something?
accord.
Rita,
I'm sorry,
just-
but I don't.
Shivani ji,
Syed, one
just 10
second.
seconds.
Syed, one
Syed,
second.
Just
Syed,
10
Charu,
seconds.
Charu, 1 second. Syed, I don't
10
like
seconds,
using the female card and all of that when I'm debating an issue. Women issue or not a women issue. But I must say, please don't use a hijab as some sort of a symbol of strength or lack of strength. Okay? Don't give it that much
Okay,
importance.
I will answer this.
This is not about strength or not, whether you wear it or don't wear it. So this is not about whether a strong Muslim woman wears it or a not strong woman does not wear it.
Administration.
You know, all of this talking
Fair
down
question.
on
The
women
same-
particularly comes from men.
I'll tell you. I will answer that. Shivani ji, fair
We're talking
question,
about
and I
children.
respect your
No,
question, ma'am.
Sayyid, can I-
I'm coming to both of you. I know you're itching to come in. 30 seconds to Syed, then I'm
Now-
coming to both Rashmi and Charu. Yes.
Thank you, Shivani ji. Shivani ji, absolutely fair. My words come from a recently. I've met a woman, Shivani ji. Her name is Fatima Huda, and she tells me, covering her face, her head with an hijab, she feels empowered. She feels the strength. Many of them don't. I'm talking that perspective.
Okay.
Second point, the same St. Rita's public school, the nuns cover their head. So I see a certain duplicacy
Okay.
and a
All right.
hypocrisy here.
I'll tell you what.
When
I'll
you
tell you
can
what.
cover your modesty, why can't a Muslim women? A simple
See,
question.
that
I'm talking
those
about all
are,
those.
I believe,
Yeah, there's a
nuns.
difference.
Okay,
There's
one second. Those are, I believe, nuns. They have a dress code for themselves, and there is a dress code for students, right? Students come from all backgrounds. One is the slippery slope. You allow one kind of covering or dress addition. What do you do with the rest? The second is, we are talking about students. We are talking about an educational institution. Even in colleges, for example, a young Muslim woman has the freedom to wear a hijab, right? But in those institutions, corporate workplaces, even government offices, nobody is stopping it. Don't make it like some sort of a ban on hijab in social
Yes.
life. This is about a classroom. And this is about sending a message even to young Muslim girls. You don't have to cover your head for modesty. I absolutely object to that.
No.
That
If
is
it
outside the
if it is
classroom.
by their choice.
No,
and
it is
the
not
practice-
by their
practice
choice.
they do,
Let
the
Rashmi
culture
come
they
in
follow,
if this
the
is
religion
happening
they
by
follow.
choice. Rashmi and then
I think it
Charu.
is
Shivani,
by their
Rashmi and
choice.
Charu.
In Udupi, I noticed that, of course, the girls came forward. There was a lot of protest, but end of the day, it was the parents of these minor girls who went out and said that they wouldn't allow their children, to go to school
Exactly.
if the school administration wouldn't allow hijab. So it was the parents who stepped in ultimately. Even in this case, if you read the statements very carefully, the child is making no statements. It is the child's father who is making these statements, and it is extremely problematic that a minor child who is 8 years old, there are parents coming out and saying that she needs to wear the hijab, and they're fighting with the school administration midterm.
Okay.
If a child
Limited
does not
time.
have the liberty to explore her faith on her own terms, then it is not freedom, it is not empowerment, it
Okay.
is straight up
It is
imposition.
still an individual choice if the girl wants to wear it at home. I don't have a problem with that. Charu, 30 seconds.
Exactly. And that is the distinction I was trying to draw, Shivani. See, there are many places where a uniform is not mandated. Like, for example, right now we're all wearing what we want to wear. Nobody is telling us what to wear. But suppose we are joining the armed forces, or someone is going to an institution which mandates a uniform, or you're joining a college where everybody is supposed to dress in exactly the same manner. That is where this is important, because it is not an
seconds to
essential
rebut this point,
religious
Shivani. 10
practice
seconds.
as upheld by multiple high courts in our country many,
I
many
need to
times.
go beyond this.
Had this now
Quotes.
at least 5
Shivani
times.
ji, can I
last
make
10
10
years,
seconds?
One second.
Every single high court has maintained that one, hijab is not essential to practicing Islam, and
No,
two, if a
no,
uniform had
no,
been
no,
mandated,
no,
then you
no.
cannot say I feel like wearing.
Shivani ji, 10 seconds.
Okay.
10 seconds.
No, the
Shivani
issue,
ji.
the
10
larger
seconds.
issue here is, I
Shivani
remember,
ji,
10 seconds.
I'm coming to you.
10
One
seconds.
second, Syed, patience.
If my
Even in the
uniform-
Karnataka case, remember the court had talked about the hands behind the scenes, right? Behind the curtains. And because these rows are erupting again and again mid-season, even though there are avenues available to choose what you want to do at the start of the term, my only question is, why is this happening again and again? I think Karnataka settled that debate. So why is this erupting again in Kerala? And why is it that the state government is intervening even before the courts have had a say in this matter? Yes, Syed.
Fair question. I will answer that, Shivani ji, in just 10 seconds. The fact Charu ji very selectively reads High Court orders which are in what you think are in favor. Didn't you see Justice Himanshu Dhulia, what he said? It is a girl's freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of choice. And right to education is a fundamental right and a constitutional right of every
Courts
Bharat
have
ki
decided
beti.
it doesn't
Supreme
supersede
Court-
the
one
institutional
judge of the
policy.
Supreme Court. One judge of the Supreme Court gave a verdict in the favor of hijab. So therefore, you selectively quote High Court, but you
One
don't
in a
quote
multiple
what was said
bench.
of the judge
In a
in the Supreme
multiple
Court.
bench,
It's
here, there
a
were
don't
many other
intervene.
judges.
It's a
That is not
fundamental
what
right. He
I have.
said it's a constitutional right. And okay, now I will go beyond the debate, Shivani ji. I salute you for the fact that you said, and all of us say, a woman must be given an education no matter what. With hijab or not hijab is not important here. Educating the girl child is sacrosanct and supreme.
Okay,
Nothing beyond
okay,
that.
but is that
I will
right?
look at
Is
the
that
fact that in my
right?
last breath-
Is that right being weaponized in this case, where you're making it about young girl children and then suggesting that their education is at risk just because they're not being allowed to wear a hijab? Is that a fair ask? Because this is a slippery slope. This is seeming to me
It is
about
a
religious
slippery-
stamping
it is-
more
it
than
is a
religious
slippery-
identity.
It is a slippery slope. I'm glad you addressed this, Shivani ji. But the fact of the matter, all those who are politicizing, all those who are weaponizing this, let me agree with Rashmi ji here and tell you, is absolutely wrong.
Okay.
It's absolutely wrong. And
So
the
is that
fact
what is happening?
if a woman
Weaponizing and
buys
politicizing
a
of this issue,
wants
despite the
education,
fact that
give
you
her the
debated it,
education.
and in some
And nobody is
senses,
beyond
it was
education.
clear that there should not be this line drawn that people will dictate what is allowed and not allowed inside the classroom. Follow the institution's rules or find another option. I leave it at that. I do thank our guests for joining us. Moving on, another infra row that has erupted in Karnataka after Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, chairperson of Biocon, criticized the state of affairs in Bengaluru. Shaw posted on X that an overseas business visitor to Biocon Park was shocked by the poor condition of Bengaluru's roads and garbage, questioning whether the government truly supports investment. The response she got from the government was very much the same as many responses recently, shooting the messenger. Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar said Bengaluru has given opportunities, identity and success to millions. It deserves collective effort, not constant criticism. Well, Mazumdar-Shaw has obviously said that she is not targeting any one government, it's calling for action, but ministers must be held accountable for shoddy and slow work, and she emphasized that her plea has been consistent across various governments in the state. Now here is more of what happened. Shaw had remarked in her original post that she had just come from China and can't understand why India cannot get its act together, especially when the winds are favourable. To which DK said 1100 crore rupees has been sanctioned for road repairs, 10,000 plus potholes have been identified, over 5,000 have already been fixed. Instead of tearing Bengaluru down, he said, let's build it up together. But this isn't just about criticism and Bengaluru's image, it's about real business. Something the Garden City may be losing out on, especially recently. Remember, Vizag has struck a deal with Google for its AI center, and that has reignited the Andhra versus Karnataka battle. Nara Lokesh was asked about Bengaluru losing out, and he quipped, if they're inefficient, what can I do? Their own industrialists say that infrastructure is bad, there are power cuts. They should first fix those problems. But IT Minister of Karnataka, Priyanka Kharge said questions over Andhra's 22,000 crore rupees subsidies arise, discounted land and water tariffs, free power transmission and full GST reimbursement to Google. He says there are concerns about the sustainability of such massive concessions for one project. But here's the deal. The IT Minister of the state is not really associated with cracking deals for Bengaluru. What has Kharge Jr. been busy? He's been busy slamming RSS. He's been giving several media bites on why RSS activities should be banned in the state and has been the face leading that campaign from within the government. In fact, if you go through his social media profile on X, out of his last 10 tweets, 8 are on the issue of RSS and only 2 concerning Bengaluru infra. So why is the government angry with citizens or even industrialists highlighting the issue on ground? And is it losing its brand? Is the IT capital losing its brand? That debate is coming up.
Constructive criticism is always welcome, but bringing in negativity always definitely does not help anyone.
If they are inefficient, what can I do?
I don't want, let them do whatever they want, let them market, let them do whatever, let central government also help. But there is no match to Bangalore in this entire country.
I want to first go across to Harish Bijur, brand guru and founder Harish Bijur Inc. joining us. Harish Bajor, how do you view this back and forth that is taking place between the government and industry voices? It's not the first time this has happened, what has now transpired between Ms. Shaw and DK Shivakumar. Do you think the government's response has been appropriate to these issues being raised?
I think we live in a democracy, and it's only right that, people raise voices and people ask questions and people get replies. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I think we have a very responsible government with Mr. Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister and DK Shivakumar as Deputy Chief Minister. And we have an equally responsible set of industrialists, whether it be Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, whether it be TV Mohandas Pai, the very outspoken person in his own right. I think they are asking the right questions. And I think all of us ask questions when a city goes through a bit of a turmoil. So I think, these questions must be taken as questions that come from the heart, from people who own the city. The problem with Bengaluru is, ownership is missing. Those who own the city will ask questions. Those who rent the city will say, Nodi Swami, now irode hige, which is a Kannadism, a Kannada linguism, which really says that, see sir, we are like this only.
In all of this, the question that arises is about Bengaluru's image. One, the perception, whether it's right or wrong is a separate matter, but that Bengaluru's image seems to be taking a beating, which a lot of industrialists and leaders seem to be talking about. And business deals are seemingly moving away from the city. Is that not a real concern?
Okay, I'm not concerned about either of these two things. I'll tell you why. Because I'm concerned about the reality and not the image. Image is a subset of the reality. So if the reality is tough things on the ground, then the image will also be a subset of that. So I'm not too bothered about the image. But, when it comes to industries not wanting to come here, etc., I don't think that's happened too much as yet, but expect it to happen. But to an extent, I think Bengaluru is saturated. And I think, a saturated city cannot take more. And I do believe Bengaluru has gotten a lot of business, is doing exceedingly well. And I think we should manage the businesses that we already have rather than hanker after businesses which we don't have.
Okay. In fact, in Bengaluru, even the question has been raised whether the businesses that are already there have sufficient infrastructure. Some of them have been seen leaving certain parts of the state and the city. I do thank you, Harish Bajor, for joining us. Let's open this up to our other guests joining us from political parties as well. Prashant GS, spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, and Raghu Dudedi, spokesperson of Karnataka Congress, joining us. Raghu, I begin with you. We have seen repeatedly the Congress government kind of shoot the messenger when they raise issues or make excuses for why they can't do something. DK Shivakumar says even gods cannot help this problem, and the mafia is not allowing him to solve the garbage issue. It's either an excuse or it's shooting the messenger. There's barely any accountability.
No, absolutely wrong. So the matter of fact is, whatever the issue today, the entire citizens of Bangalore are facing is due to the 40% commission of the BJP, and during the earlier regime of the BJP government, which they had built a quality roads and quality infrastructure in Bangalore, today we would not have faced this problem at all. So what they say, Deputy Chief Minister and in charge of Bangalore, Mr. DK Shivakumar has already ensured that the infrastructure works are already started, and Bangalore is the one city in the entire world that the 1.5 lakh crore infrastructure project has been going on. So if you talk about the infrastructure and if you talk about the potholes, so if you talk about, I think recently you have seen that Haryana, Punjab, Mumbai and the eastern part of the country, entire cities were flooded and it was submerged. Okay, so this unexpected rain is creating a havoc and it's damaging the infrastructure. So what Mr. DK Shivakumar has already ensured that 15,000 potholes were fixed. First time in the entire country and entire world, I would say, where citizens can identify the potholes and complain to the police that these are all the potholes, and the infrastructure is already going on. And my humble submission to the people of Karnataka that since the rain is going on, we cannot put a tar or black spotting.
This isn't so much about rain or rainy season. It's not like when it doesn't rain a lot, then the situation in Bengaluru is perfectly fine. But let me bring in Prashant GS on this. That the unusual amount of rain has precipitated this situation.
Right.
Shivani, let's probably take a couple of seconds off to laugh it off as to what Congress is trying to defend. Because DK Shivakumar first blames the gods, then he says nobody can help, and he blames everybody else but the government, which is inefficient to the core. Because whatever reasons have been ascribed to the Congress only show its inefficiency. And because people gave a mandate of 135 seats to Congress to give them good governance, which they have failed to do. There is 100% corruption in Congress government. And you look at the attitude of the government and the ministers who openly almost threaten the industrialists who has brought so much repute to Bangalore, who's put Bangalore on the global map. They openly issue threats saying you can't be doing this, you can't tweet if there's a problem going on. Of course they would. Because in the past, I will tell you, when Mohandas Paiji had raised concerns with Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa when he was the CM, he was invited for a cup of coffee, patiently heard and we took suggestions as to what can be done to improve the infrastructure of Bangalore, but we never shoot them away or we did not shoot the messengers. Rahul Gandhi talks about Mohabbat ki dukan, but what they are giving the people is dhamki ki dukan, because they are openly threatening people who would point out the mistakes. Because if this is not a hit of brand Bengaluru, what is it? If Google has to move out, see, I agree that ultimately Bharat wins. Whether it is Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu or Maharashtra, wherever Google is investing, India wins, Bharat wins. But as a proud Kannadiga, we are losing out to other states. Why?
Let
because
Mr. Raghu respond to this. This is becoming more than just a matter of what Bengaluru citizens are saying. This is also about real business now, Mr. Raghu.
No, I think my BJP friend has been talking about that, government is pushing away the industrialists, but it's a mutual benefit between the government, government, industrialists and the citizens. So because of the government has taken away the farmers' land and developed the industrial areas, these industries have come down and both of it's a mutually benefit. So as a government, we have benefited by generating the 50 lakh employment in the last 25 years, for not only for the Kannadigas, but the entire country. The Karnataka and Bangalore has generated more than 50 lakh. So none of the city in the entire world has not generated that much. So today we are talking about that. This is not an arrogance. So this is, like even, in 2 months, infrastructure cannot be developed. So even Mohandas
2 months? Who's asking you to do it in 2 months? I'm sorry, who's asking you to do it?
30 months?
We have already promised.
Fighting over the CM's chair.
That the infrastructure
What
will be solved
Shivakumar
by
and
November.
Siddaramaiah are indulging in.
Please, my dear friend, please
Siddaramaiah
wait.
and Shivakumar are indulging in kursi politics. They are fighting for the chair. Governance has taken a hit. There is 0% accountability in the government.
Mr. Raghu, one second. Prashantji, one second. Mr. Raghu, I asked you about, let's say Bengaluru did great. Recently, Priyank Khadge said that, traffic is a good problem to have because that shows that the city is growing. Fine, even if I buy that, the reality today is that the city seems to be missing out on deals that it would ideally like to vie for. And that's because of infrastructure or government apathy.
Government has already taken an initiative. So that's what I said. The Karnataka and Bangalore is the only city which is developing more than 1.5 lakh crore worth projects going on in Bangalore, which is not anywhere in the world. Okay, so what the industrialists are raising, it's a real issues. That is because of the previous government's failure, which we are trying to sort out.
The problem you have to grow up.
One second. Okay, one second. One second. One second.
of the BJP is very big, and we are trying to sort out. It requires
mess of the BJP. Please let me remind you. Let me remind you. Before the BJP government, there was also a Congress government. But anyways, Prashant ji, please respond to this. The mess that you left is a big hole to fill.
See, if 30 months is not enough to fill potholes, then Congress can never fill potholes in their lifetime. Because they have taken 30 months, and ever since Shivakumar took charge, he said, give me 100 days, I'll fill all the potholes. It's 30 months. They're doing politics over dinner. They want different camps. They're finding out who will be the CM, excepting fighting for the chair. They have done nothing for the people of Karnataka and governance. And you look at where Bangalore is sliding down in terms of various indexes which the global cities look at. The traffic now is at an all-time low. The traffic snarls probably we are the worst in the world. And how is it? Has this happened only because of BJP? Congress has to be shown a mirror saying that in the last 30 months, what have you done?
Can I just come in? I have a final, 1 second, sir. Please, both of you, I have a final minute. I'll give you both an opportunity. You look at how Bengaluru government or Karnataka government is responding to criticism on infrastructure, what it has managed or not managed to do. But you look at the priorities of the state. The priority of the state is to conduct a caste survey. The priority of the IT minister is to get a ban on RSS. I mean, what's going on? Don't you have bigger problems to solve?
No, we are doing the survey because of giving the good infrastructure to understand what is the real requirement of citizens. So say for example in Madhepura where...
One by one, please Prashant, not like this, not over him please. Yes.
So BJP has been ruling, in the IT corridor where BJP has been ruling for last 18 years has not given a good infrastructure. So we are doing a survey to understand how many cars are there, how many people are residing in that area. So after the survey is done, immediately we'll take up all the development activities and we'll ensure
after
that
the survey. Okay, thank you for accepting this. That after the survey, the developmental activities will happen. Prashant, 30 seconds.
Now, Shivani, if you look at, if you observe carefully, they want to find out the castes of people before laying roads, which means there now will be infrastructure will be dependent on the caste and probably to please the roadmen. We don't know. This is what they're saying. They will identify the caste and then say, we will give you infrastructure products and give you pothole-free roads if at all possible, depending on the caste of the people. This is probably as ridiculous as Rahul Gandhi constitution claims. So therefore, I think they have to own up to this mess and they cannot blame anybody else but themselves.
Okay.
Siddaramaiah and Shivakumar have to be blamed to the fullest possible extent and not the rain gods or
One
BJP.
second, Raghu Dodri, last 10 seconds, please.
Last 10 seconds. See, Karnataka is developing two good infrastructure. One is a Twin City and other one is a ITR city. So which is going to be the world's best infrastructure, best new city we are building. So I think that would suffice.
Okay.
And whatever
new cities are welcome, absolutely, because Bengaluru is packed. But that doesn't mean that Bengaluru should be allowed to crumble. I think that's the question that citizens are asking. But I thank both of our guests for joining us today. Time for a very short break. News and updates continue in just a minute.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're learning that Supreme Court has begun pronouncing its judgment on the green cracker row. Do remember, we've seen clearly a divide on green crackers, a mix of anticipation, anxiety that's gripped Delhi Supreme Court hinting that it may allow the sale of green crackers in the city just a week before Diwali, and that pronunciation has begun of the judgment. We're learning that the CGI said we've considered the submissions by Solicitor General and we have to take a balanced approach. Those are the first few comments that are coming in from CGI Gavai. The court is delivering its verdict. Many residents, remember, welcome the prospects of fireworks returning to the skies. They've called it an essential part of festive celebrations. There is another section, like I said, that's expressed concerns that weak enforcement could once again pave the way for regular, more polluting and noisier crackers, and it'll turn the city into a gas chamber and a boombox. Now, do remember, this also coincides very interestingly with the AQI picking up. The AQI in parts of the National Capital Region has crossed 200 and above. And that's a concern that National Capital Region residents are currently staring at. Comes this judgment by the Supreme Court. The verdict is being pronounced as we speak. The verdict essentially is around green crackers and whether they can be sold during Diwali festivities in the national capital. The CGI makes the first few observations. CGI Gavai says we have to take a balanced approach. We've considered the submissions by the Solicitor General. Now, there are green activists who are also speaking or who've broken their silence on this. The permission, if at all, is granted by the tone and tenor of the CGI. This is going to bring back the bursting of crackers within the legal ambit for Diwali, for perhaps other festivals like Gurpurab and Christmas as well. And this is going to happen after 5 long years. Green firecrackers, remember, bring that entire debate back to what it means for air pollution and how limited is really the consequence of this. They're designed to emit 20 to 30% less particulate matter than conventional ones, but the concerns still come with green crackers. And now we're learning in the latest bit of breaking news update that's just come in that the Supreme Court has allowed temporary sale of these crackers. The CGI has referred to the order of October 14, 2024, where Delhi government imposed a complete ban on firecrackers, which was expanded to entire NCR. And this is big news coming in from the Supreme Court. Speaking of how the need of the hour is a balanced approach, Supreme Court allowing temporary sale of crackers, referring to the previous order of 14th October 2024, where the Delhi government had imposed complete ban on firecrackers, which was then extended to the entire national capital region. Bursting firecrackers, though, only permitted from the 18th to the 21st. So just the few days in and around Diwali is when we're going to see this development in the national capital region. It comes with a disclaimer: bursting firecrackers only allowed from the 18th to the 21st. Do remember, a lot of people celebrating Diwali this year on the 20th, some on the 21st. So the crackers, the green crackers are only allowed in the national capital region from the 18th to the 21st. That's the latest bit of breaking news update coming in. Temporary sales of green crackers has been allowed in the national capital region. This is the latest coming in from the Supreme Court. And pretty much on expected lines, because the tone and tenor of the CGI suggested this. And like I said, there's been a lot of anticipation, a lot of anxiety around this. There's a certain section that essentially was waiting for this verdict, welcoming the prospects of fireworks returning to the skies. Others who are concerned that this is going to add to the air pollution problem that is already being faced by the citizens of the national capital region, with the AQI going up. Supreme Court allowing temporary sales of green firecrackers is what we're learning. Ananya Bhatnagar is sharing these details with us. So breaking down more details of everything that's being sent out by Ananya. The patrol team shall conduct regular checks, is what CJI Gawai said, on green crackers, on the green cracker manufacturers. The QR codes of green crackers will also be uploaded on the website. So this strictly is permission given to green crackers in the national capital region. This is not, or doesn't include, all firecrackers. This nod is coming only for green crackers. The Supreme Court making it amply clear that this permission has only been granted from 18th to the 21st October. This is temporary sale of green firecrackers that we're going to see in the national capital regions. Do remember, traders also were in favor of this. Several traders said that complete ban never works, and bringing back green crackers can curb black marketing. Those are some of the reactions we heard of in the run-up to the Supreme Court judgment. I do want to go across to Shrishti Chaudhary, my colleague, who joins us with more details. Shrishti, you've been tracking the story very closely. How do you look at this? You know, there were mixed reactions in the run-up to the Supreme Court judgment. There's a small window that the Supreme Court has opened up for the residents of the national capital, allowing green crackers only from the 18th to the 21st.
Yes, Kritsveen. So, see, every year during October, the entire Northwest India, especially the national capital region, witnesses a severe deterioration in the air quality, and especially around the period of festival.
After suffering back-to-back defeats in the ongoing ICC Women's World Cup, the Indian women's team visited Ujjain's Mahakaleshwar temple to seek blessings. The players participated in the early morning Bhasma Aarti. We'll leave you with that. Thanks a lot for watching.
लाल रंग इसका।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're learning that Supreme Court has begun pronouncing its judgment on the green cracker row. Do remember, we've seen clearly a divide on green crackers, a mix of anticipation, anxiety that's gripped Delhi Supreme Court hinting that it may allow the sale of green crackers in the city just a week before Diwali, and that pronunciation has begun of the judgment. We're learning that the CGI said we've considered the submissions by Solicitor General and we have to take a balanced approach. Those are the first few comments that are coming in from CGI Gawai. The court is delivering its verdict. Many residents, remember, welcome the prospects of fireworks returning to the skies. They've called it an essential part of festive celebrations. There is another section, like I said, that's expressed concerns that weak enforcement could once again pave the way for regular, more polluting and noisier crackers, and it'll turn the city into a gas chamber and a boombox. Now, do remember, this also coincides very interestingly with the AQI picking up. The AQI in parts of the National Capital Region has crossed 200 and above. And that's a concern that National Capital Region residents are currently staring at. Comes this judgment by the Supreme Court. The verdict is being pronounced as we speak. The verdict essentially is around green crackers and whether they can be sold during Diwali festivities in the national capital. The CGI makes the first few observations. CGI Gawai says we have to take a balanced approach. We've considered the submissions by the Solicitor General. Now, there are green activists who are also speaking or who've broken their silence on this. The permission, if at all, is granted by the tone and tenor of the CGI. This is going to bring back the bursting of crackers within the legal ambit for Diwali, for perhaps other festivals like Gurpurab and Christmas as well. And this is going to happen after 5 long years. Green firecrackers, remember, bring that entire debate back to what it means for air pollution and how limited is really the consequence of this. They're designed to emit 20 to 30% less particulate matter than conventional ones, but the concerns still come with green crackers. And now we're learning in the latest bit of breaking news update that's just come in that the Supreme Court has allowed temporary sale of these crackers. The CGI has referred to the order of October 14, 2024, where Delhi government imposed a complete ban on firecrackers, which was expanded to entire NCR. And this is big news coming in from the Supreme Court. Speaking of how the need of the hour is a balanced approach, Supreme Court allowing temporary sale of crackers, referring to the previous order of 14th October 2024, where the Delhi government had imposed complete ban on firecrackers, which was then extended to the entire national capital region. Bursting firecrackers, though, only permitted from the 18th to the 21st. So just the few days in and around Diwali is when we're going to see this development in the national capital region. It comes with a disclaimer: bursting firecrackers only allowed from the 18th to the 21st. Do remember, a lot of people celebrating Diwali